This video I have an old Canon P8 Sinister, I guess. Sinister? Sinestar? Projector, which I forgot was even here. I don't think this thing's any good for anything, but I thought it might be interesting just to have a look inside it. There's actually a fuse in there, it's set to 240 volt. Probably from the 60s, 70s sort of era. Aperture unit, so I guess it's just a Super 8. Well, P8 would be motor lamp off. Chances are the lamp will be shot or something in this thing. I guess I'll probably plug it in and see if it does anything. But usually you find either the lamp's missing or blown or the socket's burnt or something like that. Does it do anything? Well, the motor does something. Probably the belt's not the best. Lamp and motor, and now we're spinning the film. Oh, I just saw a lamp come up. Motor. Oh, we've got the flicks. The other problem with these is I don't know if I ever had it, but there should be an arm come up somewhere. Is it built in anywhere? I can't see it. A foot, but we need somewhere for the film to go. So the film should come up through, I guess up through there, through here, and then we should have another arm. Oh, alright, is this it? No, that's some sort of, I don't know what that is. Yeah, we've got an old spool in there by the look of it. Oh, so maybe we don't need to be on this outer. Is this just, oh, is this just for rewinding or something? Maybe. Yeah, there's a real. How the hell does that work? Usually got to go from the reel, round the thing. Oh, it shows what I know about it. Not much. Now I've got to, oh, you've probably got to lift that here to shut it. Well, if that is a roll of film can go in there, how the hell do you get it in there? Fast and slow, speed. Might be a nice rheostat on that. Or does it wind onto this film? I wonder if that's how this works, that you get your original loaded up. I can't remember which one they normally go. Do they go down across the film or up across the film? But I guess if you had a reel up on top of this thing somewhere and it pulled it down into here, sucked it into the machine, put it on that reel, you could then rewind it. So I don't see a rewind. At the end of the thing, you'd want to rewind it all back out onto your original. So yeah, no idea what this extra, well that's, we've got that and that, so how does that work? We've got a real thing on the top here, a metal thing there, something must go on, so I think we're missing something that goes with this unit. Probably got a nice lens in it. Oh, that actually, oh, we can actually slide it, oh, like some of them you can pull it right out. It's upside down and it's absolutely no use as a magnifying glass or anything. Well, that's a bit of a shame for it actually go, but what can you do with it? But every Australian home would have had one of these once, or nearly everyone, because this is how you saw your home movies. And of course in schools and stuff they were still using these to play actual movies, old educational films and stuff that would make everyone yawn. Though ironically it's kind of interesting to watch some of that stuff now, like on the Tasmanian Library site or somewhere they upload old videos from the 50s and stuff, which are somewhat yawnful, but they're so old now they're kind of interesting once you actually care a little bit about history. It's got one of those sort of light bulbs the weird shaped ones. Looks like we've got a solenoid. It's actually got a transformer in this thing. What do we need that for? Well, probably the lamp. That's probably, yeah, that goes over to the lamp. 6.4 amps I can see at, is that 8 volts? 8 volts at 6.4 amps. That'd be a good winding for something. 0.4 amps, 65, 75, 60 volt. Is that like tapped? Oh yeah, O volt, 60, 65 or 75. And then we've got an input 240 volt. 100 volt? What's going on here? Oh, is that... What have they done? Can never be that simple, can it? So it taps right down to 100 volts, up to 240 volts. That's a separate winding for the lamp. So what are these somehow related to? I wonder if that's common to the rest of them as well. 65, 75 and 60. So that's a sheet apart. There's an electrolytic capacitor. Yeah, there's a rheostat. Nice wire wound one there. I thought they used something like that in these. It's just like a potentiometer, but much more powerful. A wire wound potentiometer, I guess, with ceramic body. Something doesn't look quite right there. Is that meant to sit like that, or is something bent? Someone been fiddling with that? Don't know. There's our multi-voltage tap switch and fuse holder, and that's our motor. Belt's actually in reasonable condition, big round one, a little bit of play there. It also runs the fan and the shutter. So multi-purpose fan to cool the lamp, shutter for the lens, between the lamp and lens. And it's also running a gear which I guess runs the film stuff. Bit of aluminium or something. So how do we get into this other bit? I don't think I've ever seen one with an enclosed film thing. If that's what it is, it looks like maybe that big screw. Must be a way of getting in there if it holds your film in there. And potentially, oh, that just takes that bit off. Oh, that must be how we get into the lamp. Ah, we just pull that off. Well, that's nice and simple, isn't it? It's usually the way. So what is this lamp? It's a... Oh, it's like a... Yeah, rotate the base. What a weird looking lamp. It's actually like an automotive globe. It's like your tail light on your car down there. 8 volt, 50 watt. Pretty cool. Something rattling in there, but that's just your... Well, not your tail light, because it's got 2 pins, but it's like your indicator globe in your car without this flange bit. Made in Japan. Bofa. So it's just a whole reflector in there, I think, with one little lens, and there's a metal reflector. What's that on the back? Might be a metal reflector, loose, sort of freestanding in there. So it's just got a contact comes on the bottom. The bracket is earth. You can see a bit more of our mech. Unscrew that from the other side. I can see a screw there, but there's no way to get to it from this side. I think we have to take that other screw off to get anything loose. What the... How do we undo these bits? No, they just go in the plastic as expected. Yeah, it's screwed on from the inside, I think. That was just an earth. Oh, it's one above it there. Couldn't even see it where I'm sitting. that one there. This probably splits the whole thing in half. Couple down there, are they part of it? Possibly. But quite a solid old bit of machinery. Usually pretty well built, these things. And now it's starting to come apart. I'm going to take just this back half off. Almost. How's this thing work? But of course, you're probably going to take the front half off first. Yeah, I think we do. Take the knob off, I guess. Oh, that comes off a standard sort of shaft. I think I saw a screw on this one. I did. I think it's about to pop in. It's popping out. Maybe it has to come out. Yeah, it's a big long one. Oh, still doesn't want to come off though. Dare I force that? It feels like it's a lot more than just that holding it on there. It's going to break, I think. Sometimes if you prise them all the way around, they'll loosen. Hope it's not one with something hidden underneath the. But why would you have a grub screw if it's hidden? Oh, here it comes. Just decided to come loose. That's what I was trying to get it to do. Just break whatever's holding it. Some sort of muck under there. Let's keep removing the screws. One there. We've got that one. They hold the transformer. Actually, there's another one holding the grey bit plastic on, so that's probably going to be part of it. Or the dark blue, I should say, not grey. I know that's only screwed into the chassis. Sometimes you just have to keep taking everything out. That should only be the transformer, and it is. I'm missing something. That should be the transformer. That should be the transformer. Yeah, that's only a bracket. So I'm going to thread it into the middle. Well, let's check. I bet one of these is not just threaded into the middle, and I think I found the one that isn't. We got the top transformer one. Let's check the other top transformer one. It's probably the same. No. Well, at least the transformer's loose. What's that screw there do? Well, it's getting there. Something's holding it down this end, I think. Rheostat. Well, it's not that flat blade screw there. Surely that would hold mechanical stuff on or electrical stuff, I would think. Yeah, it's got a nut on the other end, I think. Yeah. It's starting to come loose though, anyway. Yeah, finally just wiggled it off. There we go. Yeah, another belt hidden in here. I guess that makes sense if there's something rotary in here. So I think you feed the film down and that red thing probably presses and grabs it, pulls it through. There's a sort of clamping thing here. So that probably gets it to bite onto the reel. And you can spool it up in there, which is quite a good design, I guess. Oh, that's a, is that a rheostat on that thing? No, the rheostat's that thing, I think. A couple of switches. Oh, micro switches. How do they operate? Oh, it's when we rotate this thing around. Yeah, like on a cam or something, I guess. These plastic cam things just... That's all 3 on, that's 2 on, that's the middle one on. That's quite an interesting way to do it. Got to give it to them on that. So it's 2 pressed in, top one's open, middle one's open, all 3 are open, top one, mid, all 3. So that's how they switch the functions. Just a stack of switches with some plastic cams pressing on them. Quite clever. And there's really not much in these things to see. I might steal that rheostat out of it. So that goes to the 75 volt tap. Wasn't it the motor speed or something? I think it was. So what that's got to do with... Where's the motor get its feed from? We've got a green wire and a white wire, and oh, we've got the electromagnet as well. Oh, that goes to the electromagnet. We've got a red wire. Does it come back out somewhere? Probably. Well, we could just remove it and have a look, I guess, because it might as well go in the scrap bin if nothing else. There's the other screw hidden amongst the wiring somewhere. It's the rubber stuck. Yeah. So what was it? Felt like that hadn't even been unscrewed. It was so tight. Rubber mounts have gone all hard. So I've got a green wire in to the sort of brushes. Brush comes out into that coil, out through that, through the other coil, yeah, and red wire out into the weld. Kind of cool old motor. Bit different. Not sure I should make that noise. Don't think I'll ever use it for anything, but I'll leave a bit of wire on it just in case. That belt's not coming off. I'll get rid of our mains cord. Anyway, another switch there. We've got a solenoid. I guess I could go in the motors. Oh, do I see a old... There's DC in this thing somewhere. What are they using that for? I think that's an old like selenium rectifier, electrolytic capacitor. Better be a bit careful that's not charged up with anything nasty. Because I'm not sure what voltage this is, but it's probably not the smallest. It's coming out of the 60 volt. I've got 100 volts DC written on that solenoid, so maybe it's for the solenoid. It's certainly heading that way. We've got an orange wire, goes to a, we've got a switch up here, which is, well, it's near the shutter, but it's nothing to do with the shutter, I don't think. That comes back into the solenoid, I think. Yeah. So it comes out of that capacitor and diode. Yeah, that's the, well, it's actually the 100 volt tap, I think, comes into it. So it's probably just a single diode rather than a bridge, into a filter cap, which goes back to this terminal. Must be the, what? Was that the green wire off the motor? That must be the common O volt, yeah. So I think that O volt is for everything. Can't just pop that cap out of there. But like I said, that could potentially be charged up to 100 volts or something. I doubt it, but well, if the solenoid hasn't been fired, it's possible. We'll short that out just to be sure. Ah, come on. And we do have a good transformer if we want to run that lamp or something else. It's, what was it, 6.4 volts, 6.4 amps at 8 volts. So that's the sort of thing that could be good for a hot wire cutter or those sort of things. You could probably almost run some 12 volt garden lighting or something off it with a, again with this, a diode and filter cap to up it a bit. Jeez, that is tight. They really clamped that in there. I think it's actually glued itself in, that's why. Whatever this stuff is. Is it a Canon? Something like that. Nippon and Canon. I don't really want that. I guess I'll cut it to get it out of the way. Could be a handy solenoid for something, but probably not when it's 100 volts. Used to be able to get solenoids out of all sorts of things, but this one looks like it's actually one of the good ones that's set up with a little mechanical return type setup or whatever. A lot of them just sort of pushed the plunger out and that was it. It had to be attached to whatever, and there was no return or anything. Some of them were actually more useful than that, and they'd have something to return them when the power went off, and they were always the ones that were more interesting. The rest of them were sort of dime a dozen. Yeah, this is a sprung one. Most of them just had the piece that just pulled out basically. So these were always the ones that you'd think, oh, that could be handy for something. And what does it do here? It springs against that thing. And we've got another wire for some reason. Oh, that's a little diode stack here. It's got a diode symbol on it, but it's probably a stack of plates of selenium coated metal or whatever they were. A little selenium stack rectifier. I don't see those around very often, especially not a single diode. They're usually a bridge rectifier, but often a big open thing like in a car battery charger or something with a bunch of plates set up like a heatsink. Interesting, but not much use. But that is almost worth keeping. But like I say, if it's DC 100 volts, so as long as it's got power on it, it'll pull in, and then you take power off, it resets, because the normal one will just pull in. If you take the power off, unless there's something to pull it back out, it just stays there. So not particularly useful in most circumstances, if for like electronic project building or robotics or something. I don't think I'll bother keeping the transformer either, otherwise I'd probably make a note of how this thing's wired up. Because it's always hard to come back later on and work out what's going on with these things, but I think it's just a common and whichever, obviously 240 volt tap you want here. Let's have another look. Yes, it's at 0 volts, everything else is tapped off. Well, we can soon tell with the multimeter, I guess. At first I thought it had some separate 60 volts and stuff, but I take it these windings are joined, yeah, so they're all just primary. That's a lot of primary taps. It's kind of the opposite of your normal transformer, which has your primary and maybe a second primary tap for a different voltage and then a heap of secondary taps. This has just got your lamp voltage and everything else. That looks like some of it's tapped off, so that's one of the reasons they have all these taps. It's worldwide usage, America or Australia or Europe. Secondary, you can get a 60 volts or whatever, half-wave rectify and filter it and run a 100 volt solenoid with it. And yeah, I don't know why it's got the other couple of taps there, a bit of a waste. Looks like one of them was used for something though. That might have been the one that went into the solenoid. What's the orange wire for then? Don't know. But again, making a single part to operate everywhere, it probably cost the consumer a little bit extra, I guess. Didn't make the unit quite as competitive, but it also made the factory better off. Oh, we got the fuse holder, multi-voltage switch thing. Guess we might as well see what sort of fuse it's got in it. Oh, I don't really want that bit, but anyway. Push and rotate and it pops out, I guess. Maybe. Or do I have to keep going? Oh, that's it, I think. Come on, fuse, out you come. Does it keep unscrewing? No, I can't work this one out. Or does it have to come a certain way to come out that hole? It's got a little tab on the side. And we have a 2 amp, I think it is, 2 amp quick blow fuse. And I might steal that rheostat as well. Oh, they're all just the wiring up to the switches. That can be recycled. And then, is it actually aluminium? Yeah, it's an aluminium plate. It might even be good enough for ironing alley, this thing, but only just at that. That's probably all right. Yeah, it's all aluminium. Good source of circlips if you want them. Oh, that one shot off a bit. Another one there. Probably circlips everywhere. Another one there. You can buy them these days super cheap for a kit, so it's hardly worth it. Let's have a quick look at this thing. It's got some nice little screws in it. Oh, these are always worth keeping, these long screws. They're the ones that are hard to get. And it looks like they've got a couple of mounting posts. They can be handy. Some bit of plastic rubbish. I was thinking, what are these little screw types? Are they little plastic? I guess they must be. They might be quite long too. And they're metal threads, I think. I need to refresh my screw collection. Yeah, nice long ones. So sometimes it's worth pulling these things apart just to get the screws out. I wonder if there's mounting posts under these. These might be nice long ones too. These sort of projectors and stuff are the ones where you find all the interesting specialist screws rather than just all the standard little short ones in normal consumer gear. I'll put a couple of nice big ones in here. No, they're only tiny ones. Guess our cam isn't just going to come apart that easy, is it? Oh, yes it does. A few more circlips and little brass shim washer things. That's a real shimmy little one. Problem is, it doesn't want to come off. Spring might be worth keeping. I'm trying taking that plate off. Does this want to come? Yes, it does now. Oops, there's a spring there somewhere that disappeared. Another circlip. Now the rheostat, it's got a hell of a long shaft on it, which is nice in a way, but that's certainly done up nice and tight. I guess I didn't want the user messing it up. Now those, they don't look factory. Is that the clamp for the power cord or something? Or what on earth is going on there? Wow, yeah, it is. So someone's added, oh, and the terminal block. So someone must have replaced the power cord or something. What a messy job they did of that. And that's the rheostat. It is that a 25 watt? Noble rheostat, it even says so. If it's an RRH 25 or something, it's probably 25 watts at 140 ohm. Doesn't go very far. There was something to stop it rotate. Oh, it's these things. They're the stoppers. So we've got adjustable stoppers. So if you want to limit the range, we can slide that round to its, or not. Oh, there's the bit that knocks it round. You get them. Or you can remove them altogether. It's probably an even better option, because that's hitting on this thing now. And it's still hitting on the plastic bit, I think. How's it? Oh, we're on the wrong side. I don't know what we've done here. But that thing is hitting on the actual shaft. So let's get rid of it. God, how long's this screw? Make sure nothing's in the rheostat. That actually probably goes too far now, doesn't it? That's a bit of a pain. Why? This is off. Oh, this thing's just bent. Is that what it is? It's just off centre. I was going to say something's not in the right place, but don't know how that got bent. But yes, I could put that little screw back in there now. A little flat to go in there. If I can just get it at least threaded on, it'll be a good start. That's it, and then lift it up so it's got the flat bits in, or the higher part in that slot. Yeah, now we've got a nice big wire wound pot. And these were good in the sense that you could just crudely control a lamp or motor or something high power. Yeah, that's the wrong knob. Directly. So you don't need any solid state stuff running to amplify a potentiometer, which will burn out if you hook it across anything. They're only quarter watt or something rated. This you can outright just control something directly up to the 25 watts or so. Probably want a bit of a margin of error, but say you've got a 10 watt 12 volt light globe or something, we could probably dim the sort of light globe you would find in a car brake light or something. Maybe not a brake light, that's getting a bit higher wattage, but a indicated 10 watt globe or something. So we could directly control that, because we'll dissipate quite a bit of heat and stuff when we're really dimming it, because this thing will be losing the voltage instead of the lamp. But I remember reading about these when I was a kid into electronics and thinking, where do I get some of these from? Because they just generally weren't available. But the beauty is you don't have to design any particular circuit, it's just a crude device itself, but highly inefficient. Yeah, someone's got some great big self-tapping screws here and just shoved them through the chassis and just butchered the aluminium a bit. I guess it didn't really matter, but man, it's a bit of overkill really. So worth keeping. They're always handy to have terminal blocks. It's not a particularly good one though. Forget what they are, but that's a very old one. So that's it, I think. I don't think there's anything else worth salvaging out of this. Unless we want to take this piece of plastic off, but that could probably go in the ironing alley bin. Or I might just throw it in the steel and it can go and get scrapped. And adjust the focus in and out. Now that piece comes out. I think you could change them possibly for different film or whatever. Probably why it's got super written on it, you could probably change it for something else. But anyway, we've chuck that bit out. Got a few bits and pieces that can go in the bin. That can go in the bin. I don't think we want that big knob. We don't want the foot off it. We don't want the bracket off it. So it's a good way to get some hardware, some micro switches. I don't think I'll bother keeping that little diode. Rheostat, self-resetting solenoid. If we could remove that red bit. 80 watt, was it 80 watt? 50 watt at 8 volt. You had 8 somewhere. Globe. A lens, which that can go in the ironing alley I think, because that's just totally useless. Made in Japan, Canon zoom lens. 15 to 30 millimeter. You think it'd be good for something, but yeah, the capacitor can go in the rubbish I think. 40 microfarad at 300 volts. Not particularly useful, and who knows what condition. This potentially worth keeping if you needed, yeah, sort of a high current 8 volt source. I guess if you could use that lamp for something else, you could soon run it off this and save the holder out of it. Not really much good. They just produce a lot of heat and not much else really, and they're fragile. So I'll think about that. I might just throw that in the scrap metal bin, and if I think of a use for it before it goes for scrap metal, I'll use it. But yeah, 8 volts, bit of an odd voltage. But I say once you rectify and filter it, you'll get a bit more than that, but probably more like 10 or something. But yeah, something like one of those hot wire things, if it's short enough. A low voltage like this at high current is ideal. There's a bit of that nichrome wire. I will get on to doing a video on that sometime, because I made a big one up for my friend. And I did get a couple of rolls of that wire, so maybe that'll be good for experimenting with that sort of thing, just making short ones. So I think I'll put it under the bench. But I can use the bench power supply for that anyway. But just, I guess, in case someone actually wants a shorter one built or something, yeah, that can go in the rubbish. So I think I'll just keep the solenoid, the rheostat. Terminal block's always useful. Yeah, diode we'll toss, I think. Just interesting to see one again. Switches might as well go in the switch bin. One fuse. And yeah, a bunch of little mounts. I'm actually pretty much out of these things. So they're always handy to have. That screws are weird. It's almost a screw in post, so I'll get rid of that. That's a big horrible flathead. Plastic rubbish. But yeah, these sort of screws I'm definitely after. And yeah, there's a few other bits here. A few bent washers, I can go in the rubbish. That one's bent. A few nice little tiny screws, occasionally handy. Always supposed to put a few more springs back in your spring collection, because they do get used. Oh well, that's the end of that thing, so thanks for watching.